Whoops, I was turning around the wrong direction. Is that better now?
Say something?
Is that better now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, good. Thank you for
Thank
telling
you.
me. Whoops, I was turning around the wrong direction. Right, okay. Well, a couple of minutes early, so we'll hang on a moment or two whilst the people come in. Give everybody a moment, and I get a cup of tea. Hi, Teresa.
Good morning, evening.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that, isn't it? It's
I
it's pretty dark out there. All right, well, we'll give it
bet
half a
it
minute.
is.
Yeah, it's getting colder too, so I guess that's good because we need some rain. So
Yeah,
hopefully the rain will turn up at some point.
yeah, it's been really cold here this week.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess it's all good. Hi,
Hmm.
Dixie.
Hi.
Yeah.
Did I get messed up? I thought we had a meeting this morning.
This morning? No, not this
Yeah.
morning, sweetie. It's Thursday.
Huh?
We got one now.
No, I had a meeting personal with you. You sent me back my little thing.
I didn't see it. I'm awfully sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Or maybe I messed up. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'll have a look. I didn't see it. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. It just,
Okay. It's all what's meant to be.
Sorry, Yadida. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm still actually struggling to hear you a bit. I- Is it just my sound is on 100%? Is everybody hearing Yadida fine?
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
I hear
coming through
you.
mine fine.
Okay, it must be me then.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Good luck. All right. I think it's time we begin. Let's start off with our tefillah. It's always a good place to begin. Okay. All right. So refuah shalema to all the wounded. Bezrat Hashem. ריבון העולמים ואדוני אדונים, אב רחמן וסליחות, מודים אנחנו לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, בקידה, בהשתחוויה, שקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך עבודת הקודש, ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה, מה אנו ומי חיינו, אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה. על כן אנחנו מפילים תחנוננו לפניך, שתמחול ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו, ואל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לביניך, וכן יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולבבך, ותקשיב אוזניך לדברינו אלה, ותפתח לבבינו הערל בסודות תורתך, ויהיה לימודנו זה נחת רוח, לפני כיסא כבודך קרח ניחוח, ותציל עלינו, אור מקור נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו, שיתנוצצו ניצוצות עבודך הקדושים, אשר על ידם גלית דבריך אלה בעולם, וזכותם וזכות אבותם, וזכות תורתם ותמימותם וקדושתם, יעמוד לנו לבל ניכשל בדברים אלו, ובזכותם תראיננו במה שאנו לומדים, כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל, גל עיני והביטה נפלאות מתורתך, כי אדוני תן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה, יהיו לרצונים רפי, ויגון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Amen. כן יהי רצון. So
Amen.
I want to dedicate the learning to all the wounded. Refuah Shlema. Amen. All right, very good. So we're going to start off with Vayishlach. Where's Vayishlach gone? Let me find it. Here we are. Now, before we begin, I just want to just sort of talk about Rabbi Ashlag's way of looking at the stories in the Torah, okay? And his way of looking at the stories in the Torah is to look at what they mean inside us, because the Zohar says that every single person is a world within themselves. Okay, so all the elements of the stories that we see in the Torah are also elements within ourselves. So we have a Yaakov, who represents, who is the yetzer hatov, and we have the good inclination, and we have the Esau within us, who is the yetzer hara. Okay, so everything that we look about the interaction between Yaakov and Esau is about the interaction between ourselves and our souls, if you like, the Jacob part of ourselves, the Yaakov part of ourselves, and our own wills to receive for ourselves alone, our own desires to receive, our own evil inclination. So, and this is true for all the stories. Okay, we have an Abraham inside ourselves, we have a Yitzchak, we have an Avimelech, we have all the different characters, and what happens to them, what interacts, are actually teaching tools for us to understand how to work with our good inclination and our evil inclination. Okay, which Rabbi Ashlag characterizes as the will to receive for ourselves alone. So we're going to start off with a piece from Rabbi Baruch Shalom Ashlag, okay, which says, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim, and Yaakov sent messengers, upiresh Rashi, and Rashi explains, malachim mamash, actual angels, okay? So, which were the angels that he sent? As you know, when Jacob was coming into Eretz Yisrael, he was surrounded by angels. So those were the angels, or at least some of them, that he sent off to Esau. Okay? So, why did he do that? V'yesh lishol ha'sheila. We need to ask about this whole question of inyan malachim, regarding the angels, mimah sheshalach Yaakov le'Esav, which the actual angels which Yaakov sent to Esau. Hinei lefi ma shemefarshim, according to what the sages explain, sheYaakov hu b'chinat ha'adam hosek b'Torah. Yaakov is the aspect of the yetzer hatov, the good inclination, the person who's practicing Torah and mitzvot, if you like, the good part of ourselves, okay, the one which wants to be connected with the Creator, the soul part of ourselves. Esau within ourselves, who are yetzer, and Esau is the evil inclination, the part of our created aspect, which is simply interested in self-serving. Why on earth would Yaakov send actual angels to his evil inclination? I mean, why would anybody want to do that? Okay? So this is a big question. What does it mean for us? And we need to understand this according to what my father of blessed memory, that would be the Baal Sulam, what the Baal Sulam explained. Madua etzel Lavan katuv, vayan Lavan v'yomer el Yaakov, habanot banotai, vabanim banai, vatzon tzoni, v'kol asher ata ro'eh lihu. So we have, of course, more than one type of yetzer hara. We all know we've got more than one type of yetzer hara. We might have a yetzer hara for this and a yetzer hara for that, okay? But here, Rabbi Ashlag looks at the yetzer hara in two aspects specifically. One is Laban, okay, Lavan, and one is Esau. Okay, the two wicked men in Yaakov's life. All right, so these are two big representations of the yetzer hara, and in fact they behave quite differently. All right, this is what it says. Vayan Lavan v'yomer Yaakov, and Lavan answered, and he said to Yaakov, Habanot banotai, the daughters are my daughters, Vabanim banai, the kids are my kids, Vatzon sonai, and the flock is my flock, V'kol asher ata roeh lihu, and everything that you see is mine. Okay, if you remember, this is the bit when Yaakov sees that Laban is looking rather murderous towards him, and God tells him it's time to go back to Canaan. He picks up everybody and they go off, and Laban chases after him, but he's warned by God not to touch Yaakov. But still he says, your daughters are my daughters, your children are my children, your flock, which Yaakov had earned very honestly, is my flock, and everything you see belongs to me. Okay? So it's like the yetzer is taking hold of everything. V'etzel Esau, and Esau, we have a different situation. Okay? When finally Yaakov finally meets up with Esau, okay, and Baruch Hashem, the meeting goes well, okay, what does actually Esau say? He says the opposite. V'yomer Esau, and Esau says, Yesh li rav, I've got plenty. Achi yeh lecha, my brother, take what's yours. Asher lecha, take what's yours. Whatever is yours is yours. V'Yaakov bikesh mimenu. What did Yaakov say to that? He begged him, Kach na et birchati sheveiti lecha. Take please the presents which I brought to you. V'iftzar bo, and he entreated him. V'ikach, and then he finally took it. So, wait a minute. We've got two completely different responses of the yetzer hara. So what's the difference between them? V'tiretz, and the answer is like this. Lavan nikra kodem ha'maaseh. A person wants to do a good deed. He wants to do a mitzvah. All right? That's what he wants to do. All right? So Lavan, okay, is the aspect of the yetzer hara that pops up, okay, before he's going to do the mitzvah. As ha-yetzer hara to'en, so then the yetzer hara maintains, shekol ma sh'adam oseh hu shelo l'shamayim. The yetzer hara maintains that everything you're about to do isn't for the sake of heaven. You've got your own will to receive mixed in. So what point is it? What value is there in it? That a person wants to go and practice Torah mitzvot. In other words, the yetzer hara before the action is going to maintain, if your action isn't all lily white perfect, then there's no point doing it in the first place. So you can see how the yetzer hara actually operates. All right? Before the action, he says, since you're not perfect, just don't bother doing it in the first place. All right? And this is a real trip up for people, okay? Because they know that they should be doing the Torah mitzvot for the sake of heaven, for the sake of God, and they also know that they can't, okay? So what do? They if you listen to the yetzer hara who demands perfection, you're going to get stuck. And a person needs to overcome that voice within him, overcome the perfectionist within him, or the inspector for critical perfection, which I can definitely have a big acquaintance with, okay? And say, no, I'm not listening to that. But ken lasot masim tovim. And yes, to do the good deeds. V'lachar ma'aseh, and after the action, hanikra Esau, that's called Esau, like he's done it. Shekvar asa et ha'maaseh, he's already done the action. As a yetzer to'en, then the yetzer comes with a different voice. And he says, oh, Esau, what a great tzaddik you are. Shekol ma shasa adam hu l'shem shamayim. And maintains that everything the person did is perfect, is wonderful, is for the sake of God. You're a wonderful tzaddik. And he wants to make the person feel pride, okay? Feel he's the cat's whiskers or something. And shistapek bavodato, and this stops him progressing further, okay? That he feels, wow, look what I've done, it's fantastic, it's amazing, it's a miracle, I don't know what. And he feels really, really good with himself. And because he's feeling self-satisfied, there's no more incentive to progress further. And with this, we're now able to explain what Rashi said, that Yaakov sent actual angels. Because Lavan is designated as the yetzer, which maintains, that if you want to practice Torah mitzvot, it has to be absolutely perfect, absolutely white, without any stain or dirt. It has to be absolutely for the sake of heaven. And if he's not able to intend for the sake of heaven, it's not worth putting in the effort for nothing. What's he going to gain by praying another half an hour or learning another half an hour? This is the voice of the yetzer. He says, one way or another, your work isn't worth anything. And that's the case. What a pity from every single drop of yigia, of labor that you're putting into your Torah and into your service for God. And that's the voice of the yetzer. It's the voice of the yetzer who takes on the mantle of perfection. And actually, in this way, the evil inclination has the power to prevent a person actually doing Torah and mitzvot. So what does a person need to do at that point? A person has to overcome that voice, to raise up his heart in the ways of God. And say, Ani ma'amin, I believe, lamala me'adat, in total faith, whatever my experience is, shani oseh hakol l'shem shamayim, that what I'm doing everything for the sake of heaven. U'ma shani oseh, and everything that I do, afilu shelo lishma, even if it's not for the sake of God, gam ken ze davar gadol, that's also a big thing. Ki mitoch shelo lishma ba'im lishma, because the sages have taught us that from the fact of doing the work, even if it's not for its own sake, we'll get to its own sake. Im ken b'zeh shani oseh shelo lishma, if that's the case, in the fact that what I'm doing is not for its own sake, gam ken ani oseh mitzvah. Nevertheless, I'm still doing the mitzvah. U'makayim divrei chachamim, and I fulfill the words of the sages. She'amru, who said in the Gemara, she'olam yasok adam b'Torah mitzvot shelo lishma, that a person should always practice Torah mitzvot, even if it's not for its own sake. Ki ha'ma'or sheba machziro lemutav, because the light which is in the Torah will bring a person to the good way. Okay? So that's the answer we give to the yetzer, who comes before the action. But once he's done whatever he could to do, what was in his power to do, Hainu sedaz manim shelo b'Torah mitzvot, okay, according to his way of work of times in Torah mitzvot, אז הוא צריך לראות האמת ולעשות ביקורת על העבודה שלו. Then he needs to go to the left-hand line. And what's the left-hand line? He needs to see the truth. Okay, where am I really in my service for God? What can I sort of have a little self-criticism? Can I have a little look and see the truth? ואז אדם צריך לומר להפך ממה שאמר קודם ליצר הרע. And then a person needs to say exactly the opposite of what he said previously, before the action, to the yetzer hara. ואדם צריך לשלוח שליחים ליצר הרע. What does he have to do at this point? He needs to send messengers to the yetzer hara. Okay, give it presents. היינו שצריך להגיד ליצר הרע שאדם צריך להיות בעבודתו כמו מלאכים ממש. And he needs to tell the yetzer hara that a person needs to be in his work like malachim mamash, like actual angels. Hanu kulo l'shem shamayim, completely for the sake of heaven. V'heyot she'ein avodoto nikiya v'shlema, and since his work is not completely clean and pure and perfect, elo omer liyetzer hara, but he says to the yetzer hara, שכל עבודתי הייתה בשבילך. Actually, all my work was for you. היינו בשביל היצר הרע. I was actually working for the yetzer hara, ולא לשם שמיים, and not for the sake of heaven. וזה נקרא שאדם שולח את כל עבודתו ליצר הרע. And this is designated that a person sends all his work to the yetzer hara. והיצר הרע טוען אז כנגד, and the evil inclination maintains then in the opposite way, yesh li rav, I've got plenty. I've got plenty people working for me. But you, achi, you're my brother. You take for yourself what's yours. Because it's all for the benefit of your soul. And you don't need to do any more work. In your work, you're already perfect, you're already fantastic. Just carry on in the same way that you've done till now. Until through tremendous work, and he entreated him, and he took it. As a yetzer maskim lekabel avodato b'shvilo, then the yetzer hara agrees to take all the work. Perush hadavar. What does that mean? שהוא כבר משוכנע ואין היצר הרע יכול לשלוח לו מחשבות שהוא בסדר. Because he is clinging to his truth, okay? And he's absolutely clear in his mind that the yetzer hara is not going to send him thoughts that he's 100% okay. אלא נשאר מהאמת, but he stays with his truth. שצריך להיות מלאכים ממש. That we do need to become like angels. היינו כולו לשם שמיים. That we need to do all our work for the sake of heaven. ואז מתחיל עבודתו מחדש. And then he begins his work anew. בכדי ללכת על דרך האמת. In order to go on the way of truth. So what do we see from this? We see that the yetzer hara and ourselves have discussions. And we absolutely do. We get thoughts in our mind and we have voices in our head which are talking to us. And some of them come from the yetzer hara. So before the action, before we're going to do a good deed, okay, the yetzer hara will try to, put a foot in front of us and trip us up, okay, and say, don't even bother. Your work isn't worth anything because it's not perfect, okay? And what do we have to do? We have to say, just the way I am, I believe it's perfect, okay? In the way of faith, I believe that I'm serving God, and God is happy with my work just the way it is, okay? And I also know, even if it's not for its own sake, it's the way forwards to come to its own sake. And so therefore, Torah, for even which it's not for its own sake, is actually a very high level indeed. And you take no notice of that voice, and you just carry on. Once you've done the work, the yetzer will come back at us with a different voice and says, "Oh, what a great tzaddik you are. Look how wonderful you are. Look how wonderfully you're doing. Look how terrific you are. You did it all perfectly, 100% perfect. Don't bother to try to improve. You're just, you're just perfect the way you are." So what does Yaakov teach us to do at this point? He says, no. He says, I want to stay with my truth. I'm going to look inside myself. I'm going to see the truth. I'm going to see how far away I really am from God and how much more I've got to work on myself. And what does he do? He gives it to the yetzer. He acknowledges the part that the yetzer is playing within him. And he says, I give it all to you. Okay? What does that do? It sets the reset button. It means that I can begin again from zero. Okay? So he gives his work to the yetzer, acknowledges that he was working for his yetzer, gives it all there, and as we know, Yaakov continues on his journey. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful explanation and a great help in actual practice. Okay, has anybody got any questions?
Yes, please. This last, this is a new aspect that I've never heard. We give it to the yetzer hara?
Yeah.
Wow.
What it means is, giving it to the yetzer means I acknowledge my truth. Okay, you've got the right-hand line, which is the line of faith, which is what you act on before you do the action. After you've done the action, okay, then you go to the line of truth, and you look and see how much of my motivation was really pure. And you find, like most of us, that we've got a little bit of pure motivation, and a lot of it, which was my will to receive myself mixed in. He says, okay, that's my truth. So I'm just going to acknowledge that that's the truth. And so the yetzer, who's now trying to tell you that you're just brilliant and fantastic and the world's greatest and the biggest tzaddik and all that kind of stuff, you just say, I'm sticking with my truth. That means that it's as if you're saying to the yetzer, I acknowledge I was working for my yetzer. That's what it means. It's like you don't, like I'm letting you take the credit. I'm not taking any credit. You're taking the credit. And then it means that you are willing to work again. Because if you just like listen to that voice of the yetzer who says, oh, how wonderful you are and how tremendously you're doing, okay, and what a great tzaddik you are, there's no incentive to carry on, to try to get another level, okay? But what you're doing by, like, if you like giving it to the yetzer, just saying, here you are, you can have it, okay? I don't take any credit. And you're pressing the reset button, the restart button, and you can start again and carry on your way in holiness. Does that help, Dixie?
Yes, that's
Great. Okay, very good. Right, so let's move on. I want to go to a bit of Zohar now.
Yadira, can I ask you one thing real fast?
Sure.
This book that you're reading from, is it in English? Can we purchase it in English?
I don't think it's in English at all. I'm
Oh,
awfully sorry,
okay.
but I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it really isn't. I've never seen it in English. No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a lot of work to do. I am spending my days translating, actually, getting a new book out, Bezrat Hashem, but it's very slow work. even
Oh, yeah.
with, it's very slow work. But Baruch Hashem, no, I'm sorry, I don't think it is in English. Never mind.
What is the name of it?
This
Exactly.
book, well, there's two books. I think it's printed in both of them. One of them is a four-set volume called Parshat Shalom, which is an organization of Rabbi Ashlag's done by Rabbi Gottlieb, and he took all the different articles for the Parshat Shavua and arranged them according to the Parsha. It's 4 volumes, but one of them is the Parshiot, or 2 of them are the Parshat Shavua, and one of them is from the Talmud, and one of it is the festivals. So it's a beautiful 4-set volume. And then we have a little book which was printed by, I think, Rabbi Grunier, I think, Rabbi Baruch Shalom's son-in-law, and he collected Rabbi Baruch Shalom's articles on the Parshat Shavua. It's a slim little book, but both of them are in Hebrew only. So, okay. Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What we've got here is the Zohar. Can you see the Zohar all right?
Yes.
Great, wonderful. So I'm going to just zoom out a bit, makes it a bit easier to see the Zohar. Okay. So we're going to start, here's the Zohar at the top. Okay, it's mostly in Aramaic. And then we're going to translate it at the bottom with Rabbi Yehuda Levi Ashlag. What we learned before was from his son. This is from Rabbi Yehuda Levi Ashlag's commentary. Okay? וישובו מלאכים אל יעקב לאמור, באנו אל אחיך, אל עשיו, וגם הולך לקראתך ו400 איש עמו. כיוון דאמר באנו אל אחיך, לא ידענו דאיהו עשיו, וכי אחי נחרני נהבו ליעקב, אלא באנו אל אחיך, ויתימה דהדה בתשובה, ואזיל באורך מתקנה לאו אחי, אלא עשיו הרשע כדמעיקרא, וגם הולך לקראתך, ואי תימה דאיהו בלכודו יזיל, לאו, אלא 400 איש עמו. So the story goes that the messengers came back, V'yeshuvu Malachim, and he asks, since they said, we came to your brother, Od einanu yodim shu Esav, well, we don't know that that's Esau, as if Yaakov had other brothers. Umeshiv, and he answers, Elabanu el achicha, we came to your brother, meaning, if you say that he's returned in repentance, that he's done tshuva, v'olech b'derech metukan, and he's now going in a correct way, sorry to tell you, lo kain. No, that's not the case. Ela Esav harasha k'mukodem lachein. He's just the same wicked Esau as he was previously. V'gam holech likratcha, and also he's coming towards you. V'im tomash holech bilvado, and if you think he's coming on his own, lo, that's not the case. Ela 400 ish imo, but 400 men with him. So it's pretty scary. 400 men, armed men, against an unarmed camp of women and children. It's a pretty scary thing. וכל כך למה, אמרו לי, begin the קודש ברוך הוא התראית דיר, בצלותן דצדיקאיה, ומתעתר בצלותן, כדאמרינן דהו מלאכה דממנה על צלותן דישראל. סנדל פון שמי, נטיל כל אינון צלותין ועביד מיניהו, התורה לחי עולמים, וכמוה, וכל שכן צלותן דצדיקאיה. דקודש ברוך הוא יתראה בהו, ותעבדו עבדן עטרה, ולתעטרה בעינון, צלותין לקודש ברוך הוא. ואי תימה משריין קדישין הבו עטיין אימי, עמי דחיל, אלא צדיקאיה לא סמכין על זכויותיה, אלא על צלותון ובעלותון לגבי מראיהון. כל כך למה? And all this why? למה אמרו לו כל זאת? Why did the angels tell him all this? משום שהקדוש ברוך הוא רוצה תמיד בתפילת הצדיקים. Because the Holy Blessed One always wants the prayer of the righteous. ומתעטר בתפילתם, and is crowned with their prayers. כמו שאמרנו, as we've said, שאותו המלאך הממונה על תפילת ישראל סנדלפון שמו, that there is a specific angel who is appointed over the prayers of Israel. His name is Sandalphon. לוקח כל התפילות, and he takes all the prayers, ועושה מהן עטרה לחי עולמים, and he makes them into a crown of light for Chai Olamim, for everlasting life. I think it means the Sfira of Yesod. Ubiruhu, and they explained it. Umikol shekein tfilotem shel tzadikim, especially the prayers of the righteous. Shakodesh Baruch Hu rotzeh bahen, that the Holy Blessed One wants them. V'nasot atara, and this makes the light. Shitater Kodesh Baruch Hu be'ela hatfilot, with which God brings the light because of these prayers. V'im tomar, and if you were to say, Halo machanot hamalachim hakadoshim hayu be'imimo, lama nitrei, and if you would say, listen, Yaakov is accompanied by camps of holy angels who were surrounding him, coming with him, lama nitrei, why would he be afraid? El hatzadikim einam somchim al zchutam, but the righteous do not rely on their merits. Ela al tfilot ubakashot el rabonam, but on their prayers and requests to their master. Okay? Now, I want to first go back to see what Rabbi Baruch Shalom says on this, and if we have time, we'll continue with the Zohar afterwards. Okay? So, where am I? Here we go. I might have to change the share. Right. Where was it? This is it. Okay. V'yira Yaakov me'od v'yitzer lo. I think that's the bit. 1 second. Yes, it is. And Yaakov was afraid, and he was in trouble. V'amfarshim ikshu, and the sages asked the question. Halo Hashem yitbarach ma'marei sulam she'era lo. 1 second, God appeared to him in the vision of the ladder, okay, v'ivticho, and promised him, l'shomro b'kol asher yelech, to look after him wherever he went. Kamo shekatuv, hinei Anochi imcha, behold, I am with you, u'sharticha, and I'm guarding you, b'kol asher telech, where you go. Im ken lama yatzich litpalel. If that's the case, why did he need to pray? But sileni na miyad achi miyad Esau. Deliver me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. Hinei Zohar Kadosh mefaresh amirat hamalachim liYaakov. The Holy Zohar says specifically what the angels told Yaakov, v'gam holech likratcha v'arba meot ish imo, that he's coming towards you with 400 people, with men with him. V'shoel, and asks, v'kom kach lama amule, why did they tell him that? U'mejiv, begin the Kodesh Baruch Hu yitra'ei tadir b'tzeloton tzadikaya, because the Holy Blessed One always loves the prayers of the righteous and is crowned with their prayers. Hainu sh'HaKodesh Baruch Hu mita'avel letfilaton shel tzadikim, that the Holy Blessed One is longing for the prayers of the righteous. And my father of blessed memory, that's the Baal Sulam, explained, why can't the Holy Blessed One give his created beings all goodness without prayer? After all, he knows what they need. Okay? אלו רוצה שהם יבקשו ממנו, but he wants them to ask it from him, ואז הוא משפיע עליהם, and then he gives it to them. והלא יודע, and this is a strange thing, והלא ידוע שיותר ממה שהעגל רוצה לנוע, כפרה רוצה להעניק, but we have a basic principle, which is known, that more than the calf wants to suckle, the cow wants to give the milk. אלא שיש כלל, but there's a general rule, שאין אור בלי כלי, that we cannot attain any light unless we have a vessel for the light. וכלי נקרא בחינת רצון, and a vessel is called the aspect of desire. אין כפייה ברוחניות, for there is no compulsion in spirituality. משום שאי אפשר להרגיש טעם של תענוג מדבר שאינו חשק. Because a person can't feel the taste of joy for something he has no desire for. כי כך הרגשת התענוג תלויה במידת החשק והרצון שיש לו בדבר. And the main feeling of joy depends on the measure of desire and will that he has in the matter. וכן אין הקדוש ברוך הוא משפיע אלא בזמן שיש לנבראים רצון וחשק. So, in fact, the Holy Blessed One doesn't give his light unless the created beings have a true desire and a passion to receive that light. And how do we get that passion? How do we get that desire for God's light? הרצון של האדם מתרקם דווקא על ידי תפילה. The will of a person strengthens, weaves together, puts together, gets stronger and stronger through prayer. כי על ידי זה שאדם מרגיש חיסרון, הוא מתחיל להתפלל. Because when a person feels a lack, especially the type of lack, he's in trouble or something like that, God forbid, he begins to pray. ועל ידי זה התפילה שלו מתגדל ומתרבה. And through his prayer gets bigger and increased in urgency, עד שבא לשיעור שיהיה ראוי לקבל את ההשפעה העליונה. Until it comes to a measure that he's fit to receive this highest light. ומשום זה הקדוש ברוך הוא מתהווה לתפילתן של צדיקים. And this is the reason why the Holy Blessed One is longing for the prayer of the righteous. שרק על ידי זה הם יכולים לקבל שפעו יתברך. Because only in this way can they receive his bounty, may be blessed. So what is he saying here? He's saying something which is really important. He's saying that we can't receive the light unless we have a genuine need for it. Like we have a genuine lack for it and we genuinely wanting to receive it. And that we know what we want. And the reason is because light given to us without a genuine desire for it, it's like water's off a duck's back. I mean, if you've ever tried to tell anybody, give somebody some information that they're really not interested in, you could be talking to the wall. In fact, you probably do better to talk to the wall. Okay? So this is the whole problem. If the person has no interest, no desire to hear what, it could be telling the most important information, but they're not interested. Okay? And so we cannot attain any light without we have a desire for it. All right? You might want to save somebody for something from something. You want to help them. Okay? But if they don't have a real desire to be helped, then it doesn't help at all. Okay? So here, what he's telling us is why prayer is so important. We need to ask for what we need because through prayer, we are actually weaving the true lack. Okay? And then when we get the light, we will hold it. We won't throw it away. וידוע שבשפעו יתברך אנו מבחינים תמיד שתי בחינות. And it's known that in God's bounty we can discern always two aspects. Aleph, or Mekif, Bet, or Pnimi. One is the surrounding light, the other one is the inner light. Or Mekif Perusho Mashadam Atid Lekabel Be'atid. The surrounding light means what a person is future and going to receive in the future. He's not yet fit to receive the goodness. Or Pnimi, the inner light, Perusho Mashadam Kabel Behoveh, means what a person is receiving in the present. Zotomat Shashefa Balo Bipnimiuto, that the bounty comes to him in his inner aspect. And according to what we said above, that for everything that we receive, we need first of all to offer up a prayer, so that we will have a vessel to receive the goodness. It follows that what the Holy Blessed One promised Jacob when he got the vision of the ladder, that was surrounding light. Okay, in other words, it was kind of like theoretical. It was kind of like in the future. I will look after you. I will bring you back. I will, everything. I'll look after you. Don't worry, kind of thing. But it wasn't an actual danger there and then. But when he met Esau, he needed salvation in the present. What did he need to do? He needed to pray and manifest his desire, which is his desire, his vessel for salvation. Because without salvation, I apologize. Because without a vessel, it's impossible to receive. Or Pnimi, and that is designated as inner light. Or Mekif, because the promise is designated as surrounding light. But when we come to bring that promise out into practice, we need prayer. Or Pnimi, and this is considered as or Pnimi, inner light. Because or Mekif is awakening from above. But inner light which is coming in the present into a person's consciousness, is through awakening of his own. Okay? Great. Now then, I want to go back to the Zohar. Oh, by the way, has anybody got any questions on that? Are you all okay? All right, so let's go back to the Zohar now. Now the Zohar takes a different discussion. It's not disagreeing. Rabbi Baruch Shalom is not disagreeing with the Zohar or anything like that. He's taking the discussion in one direction. The Zohar's taking the discussion in a different direction, but it's also very interesting. Okay, right. Memhei. Tachazi. Dama Rabbi Shimon. Tzlota de Sagian. Selik kamei kuchabrichu. Mitratebu tzluta. Begin de salka begavnin Sagian. Vit kalilat mikama sitrin. Ubegin dit kalilat mikama gavnin. Itavidet atara. Umancha lo eshad et tzadik chai olamim. V'tzilutet yachid. Lav ihi kalila, v'lav ihi ela begavan had. V'adat tzilutet yachid lav ihi mitatkana litkabla k'tzilutet sagien. V'tachazi, Yaakov kalil hava. V'adat tzilutet ta'ivled kutchebrichu. Ma ketiv v'yira Yaakov me'od v'yitzelo. Come and see. Rabbi Shimon said, the tefillah of many, okay, the tefillah of Rabbim, that's the community together, goes up before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. והקדוש ברוך הוא מתעלה באותו תפילה, and the Holy Blessed One brings through light because of that tefillah. משום שהיא עולה בכמה אופנים, because it comes up in lots of different ways. כי אחד שואל חסדים, because one person is asking for the light of giving. והשני גבורות, and another person is going to ask for the ability to overcome, to be able to put a border on his yetzer hara. והשלישי is asking, and the third person is asking for mercy, for compassion. ונכללת מכמה צדדים, and it's made up of lots of different sides. היינו, and it's certainly made up מצד ימין, מצד שמאל, ובאמצע. Is made up of the right-hand line, which is the person who wants to be giving. He's made up of the left-hand line, a person who wants more ability to put borders and overcome his will to receive. And it's made up of the middle line also. כי חסדים נמשכים מצד ימין, because the light of loving kindness, of giving, the joy of giving, comes from the right-hand line. Gvurot, the ability to overcome and put a stop to one's will to receive oneself alone, comes from the left-hand line. V'rachamim, and mercy comes from the middle line. Umishum shnechlent mikam ofanim v'tzdadim, and since it comes from different characters, different ways, different sides, naset atara, it makes the light. Umunachat al rosh tzadik chai olamim, and which comes on the head of the tzaddik chai olamim, which is the yesod. And what is the yesod? It's the channel, it's the last sphira before the malchut, which gives all the yeshuot el hanukva, which acts like the channel, the funnel for all the salvation to come to the malchut, and from the malchut to all the congregation. אבל תפילת יחיד אינה כלולה מכל צדדים. But in general, a person's individual prayer isn't made up of all these different sides. ואינו אלא באופן אחד. It's usually just got one characteristic. או שמבקש חסדים, or maybe he wants to be able to be giving, or gvurot, or he wants to be able to overcome his yetzer hara, or rachamim, who's asking for mercy. וכן תפילה יחיד אינה מתוקנת להתקבל כמו תפילת הרבים. So the prayer of a single person is not as effective as the prayer of many, because it's not made up of all three lines. Borei, come and see, Yaakov hu kalul mikol shlosha kavim. But Yaakov himself is made up of all three lines. That's his essence, okay? He himself, his original nature was the right-hand line. He gained the left-hand line when he received the birthright and when he received the blessings. And now he's become also the middle line. So he includes both the right-hand line and the left-hand line within him, and he actually now becomes the vehicle for the middle line, okay? Because he joins them together in a way that all three lines can shine, all right? לפיכך חשק הקודש ברוך הוא בתפילתו. And that's the reason why the Holy Blessed One took delight in his prayer. ביותר בכל השלמות, because it's completely whole. מכל שלושה קווים, because it contains all three lines. כמו תפילת הרבים, like the prayer of many. ועל כן כתוב, and therefore is written, וירא יעקב מאוד, and Yaakov was very afraid, ויצר לו, and he was in trouble. כי הקדוש ברוך סבב לו את זה. The Holy Blessed One caused him that, caused him those feelings, caused him to be worried. כדי שיתפלל, so that he would pray. מטעם שחשק בתפילתו, because he wants to have the vessel ready that he can pour through that, okay, all his light and goodness, not only to Yaakov, but to his wives, to his children, to everybody, all right, and everybody in the world subsequently as well. Okay. How are we doing for time? Oh, good. We've got a few more minutes. Great, Memvav. Rabbi Huda patach ואמר, אשרי אדם מפחד תמיד, ומקשה ליבו ייפול ברעה. זכאין ינון ישראל, דקודש בריך הוא יתראה בהו, ויהב לון אורייתא דקשות, בגין למזכי בעל החיי עולמה. דכל מן דשתדל באורייתא קודש ברוך הוא משיך עליהו חיין עילאים, ואילה לחי עולמה דעתי. דכתיב כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך. וכתיב בדבר הזה תאריכו ימים, חיין בחיי עולמה וחיין בעולמה דעתי. Rabbi Yehuda said, he opened in his discourse and he said, happy is the man who is always afraid, whereas one who hardens his heart will fall into evil. Happy are they, Israel, that a holy blessed one wants them and gave them the true Torah in order to give them merit for the everlasting life. What is everlasting life? Connection with the Creator. Ki kol mi she'osek b'Torah, because whoever practices the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu moshech alav chaim elyonim, the Holy Blessed One draws towards him higher life. What does that mean? It means connection with the soul. It means connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why is it that people who practice the Torah get connected with God? Because the Zohar teaches us Oraita v'kodsha b'richu v'Yisrael chadheim, that the Holy Blessed One, the Torah, and Israel are one. So when we're practicing the Torah, we're dealing with the same essence as our soul and the same essence as HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, even if we can't know it directly, they're all made of the same essence. All right? And so therefore, we are making the correct vessel in order to be connected with the highest light. And life means, connected with the highest life, or life means connection. Also brings us life in the next world. Rabbi Ashlag, if you want to know what is the next world, it's the next spiritual stage, so that you have life force in your present spiritual stage, and life force, connection with the Creator, in your next spiritual stage. Shekatuv ki hu chayecha v'orech yamecha, which is your life and length of your days. Okay, it brings you the revelation of God's light within one's consciousness. V'katuv b'davar zeh tarichu yamim, and in this matter you will lengthen your days. Ki hu chayim b'olam hazeh, which is life in this world, that whilst we are present in the consciousness of this world, we will still be able to be connected with the soul and with the Creator. And chayim b'olam haba, and life in the world to come. Rabbi Elazar Amar, Kol man dishtadel b'oraita lishma, lav mitatei al yedad yetzer hara, begin di'itakfei be'ilonei dachaye, v'lo arpei minei, ובגין כך צדיקיה, דמשתדלי בורייתא, לא מסתערבי גופה, דלהון ולא שרה עלי רוח מסבא. Rabbi Elazar said, Kol mi shosek b'Torah lishma, whoever practices Torah for its own sake. Now, Rabbi Ashlag says, whether or not we can practice Torah for its own sake and actually reach that stage, that's not entirely up to us, okay? All we can do is try to reach that stage, okay? So if we're still stuck with our wills to receive for ourselves alone, okay, but we're trying to do the Torah for its own sake, that still counts, all right? Okay? Because we're not in control of the pace in which we can go in that sense. All we can do is keep trying. Ein mitato al yad hayetzer. So long as we're trying, we're not going to be killed by the yetzer hara. What does killing mean? It means being separated from the Creator. All right? It doesn't necessarily mean physical death. It means being separated from the Creator. That's the Risha'im b'chayehim, the wicked in their lifetime are called dead. Okay? So he's not going to get killed by the yetzer, by the malach hamavet, the will to receive oneself alone, the angel of death. It's got lots and lots of different names. Mishum shne'achaz b'etz ha'chayim, because he's holding on to the tree of life. What's the tree of life? Faith. He's holding on to his faith that God will help him get there. V'lo hirpa mimenu, and he doesn't let go. Umishum zeh, tzadikim oskim b'torah en gufam tamei. Because of this, the righteous who are practicing the Torah, their body, their will to receive, is not causing them uncleanness. Lahamitatam. And also their actual physical body is not tamei is not unclean after their death. Because the spirit of uncleanness is not reigning over them. And there's lots and lots of stories of things like this where, they opened a kever for some reason, they opened a grave for some reason, and they found that the body of a tzaddik is completely whole, that there's no decay and there's no worms or whatever as in any way touched it. It's just completely whole. It's just an amazing thing, and it's a known fact. Okay, so it's also a spiritual fact, but also a physical fact, which is pretty amazing. So one last bit. Memchet. Yaakov, ilana dachaye hava, amai dachil. Da lo yachol l'shalta aloi, v'adha ketivine nochi imcha b'gomeh, amai hava dachil. ותודה הכתיב יפגעו במלכי אלוהים. אם משוריין קדישין הווה ימי אמה הווה דחיל. אלא כל ייעוד הווה. ויעקב לא היה בא למסמך על ניסה דקודשא בריך הוא. בגין דחשיב דלאו איהו כדאי, וקודש ברוך הוא יביא לי ניסה. מה טעמה? בגין דלא פלח לעבוי או לאימי כדקה ייעוד. ולא השתדל בו הייתה, ונטל תרי החיות, ואף על גב דכולו יתמה, ועם כל זה, בא אלי לברנש, למתחל תדיר, ולצלה כמי קודשא בריך הוא, בצלותין, דכתיב אשרי אדם מפחד תמיד, והר הוא כמוה. So it says, he asks a question. Yaakov is of the yetzer ha'chayim, of the tree of life. Lama pachad? Why was he afraid? Mipnei Esau. Why did he get scared of Esau? Harei sitra achra eino yachol lishlot alav. The sitra achra, the will to receive oneself alone, can't get any control over him. Va'od, not only that, harei katuv, it's written, shakodesh baruch hu amar lo, v'nei anochi imcha. The Holy Blessed One has certainly told him, look, I'm going to be with you. Lam haya mitra'eh. Why was he afraid? Va'od harei kativ yifgu v'malachei Elohim. Not only that, but it's written that the angels of God met him. And if he's surrounded by camps of holy angels, what did he have to be afraid of? And the Zohar answers, but everything is true. On the one hand, that he didn't need to be afraid. But Yaakov didn't want to rely on the miracle of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shachashav, what was he thinking? Sheino kadai. He's thinking, I'm not really worthy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yaseh li nes, that the Holy Blessed One will do for him a miracle. Ma'u tam. What was the reason for that? Mishum shelo avad et aviv v'imo ka'oi, because he hadn't served his father and mother as is fitting. He had to leave. He couldn't do kibud ava'im. His parents are getting elderly. He needs to give them a hand and help them because they're elderly, and he couldn't. V'lo asak b'Torah, and he didn't practice the Torah. D'hainu b'kaf bet hashanim shiurim lavan. He couldn't study the Torah whilst he was looking after Laban's sheep for 22 years. V'lakach shtei achayot, and he took 2 sisters to be their wives. And even though everything is perfectly fine, Yaakov lo chata klal b'zeh, Yaakov did not sin in any way with this. Im kol zeh, nevertheless, tzarich adam lefached tamid. A person always needs to be concerned. Ulevakesh b'tfilah lifnei Kadosh Baruch Hu, and to ask in prayer before Hakadosh Baruch Hu, shekatuv ashrei adam mefached tamid. Happy is a person who is always concerned or always afraid, or in other words, ready to pray. Kafar biruhu, and as we've explained. In other words, not just take things for granted. Even in the extreme case where you've actually had a dream and you've seen Hashem on the top of a ladder and he's promised you and you're surrounded by angels, don't take it all for granted. On the contrary, God wants us to pray to him because he wants to be sure that we have the right vessel with which to receive his light. Okay. All right. Was that okay, everybody? Did anybody ask any questions? Anybody want to ask anything?
It was
Yedida,
wonderful.
if I
Okay.
may, for those who doesn't believe that tzaddikim don't decay, my friend's daughter died in Cleveland, America, at the age of 13 from the vaccine, not the corona vaccine, allergic reaction. And then year later, they made Aliyat Tzfat, and they brought her in, and they reburied her here. So after a year being here already, and year in Cleveland, their rabbi called them and said, I want you to know that Hevra Kadisha called me and let me know that after spending a year in the grave in Cleveland, Ohio, she was untouched. Her body did not decay. She was a tzaddikus in a girl's body.
Wow.
It's a true story.
Yeah, I believe you totally.
No,
It's a known
the
fact.
girl, I was the last one in the hospital with her. I know the girl.
Tatiana, what a zechut. Wow.
So it's true. What I'm saying is when you said that they don't decay, for people who are listening to you, this is a total proof.
Thank you so much for
Wow.
sharing that. Wow. Amazing, Tatiana.
Her name was Basia.
And she's buried here in Tzfat?
Yep.
Wow. Show me one time where she's buried. Go put a stone on her grave.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Bless you.
Edith.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for
Thank you.
sharing that. It's amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
You did. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Thank
Shalom.
you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Look at
Shabbat
the
Shalom.
moon. Guys, go
Shabbat
out
Shalom.
and look at the moon. It's so bright, unbelievable.
On
Wow.
the
Okay.
way. On the
Amazing.
way.
It only comes this bright in 18 and a half years once.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. I'll go outside and have a look.
Okay?
All right.
Shabbat Shalom,
Blessed.
everybody.
Shabbat
Thank you,
Shalom.
Edith.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Let me just switch all this lot off.
I just saw the moon over my house. It is so bright.